All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Mortgage Coach Tuesday interview. Every Tuesday, 9 o'clock. We are here to bring leadership, amazing guests that are winning in the market today and doing it in a way that creates a competitive advantage for the future. So I try to make it so that 70% of the time I'm bringing operators, people that are loan officers. Sometimes I bring in interviews with authors. Today we have two leaders that are in leadership roles in the industry and have been some of the most successful mortgage professionals really in the history of the business. Danny Horanyi is someone that when he was an operator in the business, I used to interview all the time. What's up, Danny?
So glad to be here, Dave. Thanks for having me back, man.
Yeah, so how many total cost analysis do you think you did back as an operator, whether you were running a team or on a team?
I think the number was over 2,000. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was definitely in the thousands.
Yeah, it was in the thousands, guys. I think it was over 3,000. And so, this is a guy who knows how to deliver advice at scale. And I do think this is probably the first time in 5 years I've had you on the channel. Is that about right?
It's about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been out of the active origination game trying to find another way to create impact for that period of time.
Yeah, well, good to have you. I'm really looking forward to this conversation. And then Ryan Grant almost doesn't need an introduction because he's either on a lot of stages. He's got a very active social media game. I've been interviewed Ryan at least once a year, really multiple times a year for probably the past 3 to 4 years. What's up, Ryan?
Hey, Dave. How are you, bud?
Good, man. Thanks for making time. I'm looking forward to hearing about stop selling a product that no one wants. The topic today. But if there is a new loan officer watching this right now, why don't you just kind of share who you are so that brand new LOs in the business, which guys, brand new LOs are coming into the business with success and they're still coming into the business. So why don't you share a little bit about who you are for everybody?
Yeah. So, a while back in 2018, we started realizing that, people didn't want debt, they want money. And they they treated us very much like a commodity. I was very focused on customer service, as was Danny when he was originating, very focused on speed and education and trying to make sure the client has a good experience. And the challenge we faced, especially in 2018 when rates started to rise, was that we realized that people didn't necessarily want our product. They just wanted a cheap version of what we had to sell. And customer service and customer experience was just a kind of a nice thing to have, but not a necessity. And so we developed a platform called the Art of Homeownership, which essentially, changes the dynamic away from us just selling debt to us making a higher level commitment to that consumer to help them grow their generational wealth for 30 plus years, to help them, navigate the changes and evolutions that inevitably happen in their life. And when we've married that product with MortgageCoach and Sales Boomerang and the whole No Borrower Left Behind platform, it has created a massive opportunity for us, not only to impact the lives of the families that we serve, but all of the business partners that we serve as well. So we're excited to chat more about that today and show you more about it. But Danny, anything you want to add to that?
No, the only thing that I would add is, that this is coming from a place of, over a decade of testing and learning what we need to do to stay on the cutting edge of what our borrowers' needs are. Ryan, I think Dave was trying to get out of you that you're, one of the, top 10 originators in the country for, many years running, and that you're bringing a little bit of credibility to this conversation.
Yeah, I was getting a little bit of that, although I think most folks watching this, they'll know who Ryan is because he's been so active in the market. So let's get into the dialogue. The only framing statement I want to make, and then I really want to hear the two of you talk about why you picked this headline. When I interview top people, I'll often like, hey, what do you think would be the topic and something that would really make people want to show up and either watch this video on YouTube or show up to the call today. And you picked this title. Now, one of my thoughts on this is the product that loan officers sell has got a lot worse than it was last year. Last year there were rates in the 2s. This year rates are now in the 6s. So it's almost like to say interest rates have doubled is almost understating just how much rates have gone up and just how much, let's just say, the product is worse. And then the other big challenge in today's market is we are at a record level of affordability challenge in America. Like the affordability quotation to buy a home, to go from renting to owning, to go from this isn't the home I want to I want a bigger home, it's a lot harder. So I think it's just obvious that people don't like this product this year. But Ryan, why don't you go first with why you picked this topic and then we'll get it. Let's try to keep the first 20-ish minutes high level. And then I do want to get really tactical, be ready for scripts, be ready for tactics so people can really implement what it is we're talking about. And one last question, or one last thing, Ryan, before you take over. If you're watching this, you've got two really smart, experienced people on this call. If you have questions, ask them. I'll make sure they get into the dialogue, whether you're watching this in Facebook or you're in Zoom. Any questions or comments you have, please, let's make this a mastermind. So Ryan, why this headline?
It was interesting. You asked me kind of to find the headline, and I was watching one of the Steve Jobs keynotes that he was doing a couple of days back, and it kind of hit me that we're very much in the same world, right? He was talking about how marketing is a very noisy and complicated world, right? And people aren't going to remember us. No company is going to get people really to remember them. And because of that, we have to be really clear about, what we want people to know about us. And the way to do that is not to talk about rate or fees or speed or customer service, right? It's not to talk about why we're better than a broker, better than a bank, better than X, Y, or Z. And he talks about the greatest example of this is Nike, right? Because Nike sells shoes, which is a commodity. There's thousands of shoe companies. But the thing is, you never hear Nike talk about the product. You never hear them talk about that their air soles are better than Reebok or Adidas's air soles. You never hear that, right? What Nike talks about is what they believe in, right? They honor great athletes or great athletics. And as mortgage professionals, we need to be doing the same thing, right? We just need to ask ourselves, what do we really stand for, right? Where do we fit in this noisy world? And the mortgage world is one of the noisiest, especially internally right now, right? And our customers want to know that about us. What do we stand for? What is the product that you actually have other than the debt that you sell? And if your brand is not about more than speed, rate, service, communication, all that kind of stuff, you're going to get lost in the noise, especially today, right? And the thing he says that it just resonates with me to my core is that people with passion can change the world for the better, right? And there's people out there that are crazy enough to actually do that. And we're proud that is what we're doing, right? We are proud that we are in a position now where we're telling a different story, right? When a client comes to us and says, "What's your rate?" We can easily ask the question, "What's important to you about this?" And has anyone told you about what makes us unique as a mortgage lender? Right? And anybody on the platform, anyone using MortgageCoach, anyone using Sales Boomerang, anyone using Art of Homeownership, they have a unique story to tell. But it's not just the product that we're using; it's why we're doing it. And when people can experience that, it's we do a lot of stuff with our clients via Zoom. You can see the light go on in their head, right? You can see that they realize what they thought they wanted was 30 days worth of help and a low interest rate. But what they realize that what they really need after we tell them about what we do is a group of people to help them grow their generational wealth consistently for 30 years. And Danny says it really well. He says wealthy people aren't wealthy because they have money. They're wealthy because they have access and people giving them really great information. And that's what all these suite of services collectively together do. But if you're just talking about the services and you're not talking about how passionate you are and why you're doing it, the commitment you have to them, they're just going to hear what you're saying. They're not going to feel it. Right? And that's the most important part of the conversation.
Love that. Danny, anything you want to play off of that or anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think what I would add is that the headline is literally true. You know, none of your borrowers want to borrow money, right? They want to be independently wealthy. They want financial freedom. They want to not need to borrow ever again. And that is what we can communicate about their future, right? The transformation that we can, create, right? We're not the hero, we're the guide, and we're guiding them towards that place of, financial freedom where they no longer need to borrow again, right? Because they're coming to us asking for money, they're asking for help, and that they don't want to ask that, right? Nobody ever wants to ask for money from anyone, right? So the headline is literally true. But what I would add to, what Ryan shared is something that, it's a phrase that I think applies especially now in this market, which is our clients are buying the destination, not the plane, right? That destination is home ownership. That destination is that extra bedroom because they have a baby on the way. The destination is a place where they're going to have Christmases and Thanksgivings and all those other things. And the plane is this 7% interest rate. Well, nobody wants to be in a middle seat, right? But if they're flying to Hawaii, they'll still buy the ticket and get there. They just need to understand where they're going, right? If they don't know where the plane's flying to, which is our obligation as mortgage professionals, because we have that information, we know where they're going because we've seen it hundreds or thousands of times before. If we can manifest that transformation and show them that future, then they'll jump on the plane and they'll fly to Hawaii with us. But if we're just selling them the middle seat and they don't know where it's going, well, they're going to wait, right? They'll sit on the sidelines and wait. And that's where it's really our obligation to educate and empower and inspire.
What I would love to do, guys, because I think a lot of people intuitively get what you're saying, but to shift the conversation with a consumer, and I know you guys also have some things you want to share, but I almost want to, not be done going high level on this, but I also want to get tactical and talk and literally give some training right now to folks on how to shift the conversation. I did just see a message come in from Megan Burns saying, marry the house, date the rate. And there's no doubt that is a really powerful conversation shifting concept in today's market. I actually interviewed Jeremy Forcier last Monday, and it was date the rate, marry the house, divorce the rent. And he talked about how he is delivering that message in the market. But Ryan, do you mind taking a crack at just providing a little micro sales lesson on how you help loan officers shift the conversation going from a transactional LO that delivers a fee worksheet to a client for life LO, art of home ownership LO, whatever that shows a family how to achieve financial goals and uses a TCA? Anything can you tackle?
Yeah. It may be best, whenever I teach, I try and do it in form of script. Danny, do you want to role play this with me real quick? You could be the client.
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it.
All right. Danny calls in. So, hey, this is Ryan.
Hey, Ryan. Hey, I heard about you from my realtor, Sally Smith. She said that you can help me buy a house, but just want to know what's your interest rate today?
Danny, thanks so much for calling, man. Super happy that Sally put us in touch. We worked with Sally for quite a long time now. Interest rates actually have moved pretty substantially upward. Have you been tracking interest rates at all?
No, we started shopping for a house in November. So our last person we talked to gave us like a 3.75. So they're higher than that.
Okay. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about then. So I'll definitely go over all that with you, but did Sally talk about what makes us different or what makes us unique as a mortgage company?
Oh, she raved about you. She said that she absolutely loves you and you guys could really help us out.
Did
That's
she tell
kind
you
of all I remember though.
Yeah, no problem at all. So I think it's important that you understand kind of our philosophy as a mortgage company. So unfortunately, most mortgage companies focus on selling debt. So for example, you said you worked with mortgage companies back in November. Is that correct? Did they pre-approve you at that time?
Yeah, they did.
Can I take a crack at how that went?
Sure.
So you called them, they called you, you filled out an online application, you sent in some documents. A day or so later, they reviewed it, gave you your pre-approval letter, and you were off. Is that roughly how it went?
Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Well, Danny, first I want to apologize that happened. right? That's really someone who's just focused on selling you debt, but doesn't have really any interest in helping you become a successful homeowner. And there's a very big difference in life between someone who just owns a home and someone who becomes a really successful homeowner over time. And so the reason why our clients utilize us, not only are we one of the number one, lending teams in the county and in the country, but they don't use us because we're the cheapest or because we're quote unquote the best. They use us because we add more value than any other mortgage company, not just for 30 days, but for the next 30 years. And our commitment is to help you not only just buy a home, but really grow your generational wealth and achieve financial freedom over time. And so if you have a couple minutes, I'd love to just walk you through what that looks like and explain it to you. And then we can go into the approval process, and then I can really educate you on what's happening in the interest rate market and how we combat that short-term and long-term, if that works for you.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Cool. So I'd get into it from there.
Okay, so remember, everybody watching this will be available on our YouTube channel. I would push loan officers to pause this, to write down, let's just call it the shift script. Like, how do we shift from loan officer that's going to quote rates and do a pre-qual to mortgage advisor that's going to recast a family's vision and show them how a mortgage decision can help them do that. Like, what's your shift conversation? Or we've called this your value prop conversation. I would just push everybody watch this, like, you need to have it. And while I'll bet you Ryan and Danny have some documented scripts, I can tell you we've got a lot of documented scripts in our blog, all over the place. Authorship is ownership. And so even if you get a hold of someone else's script, until you've made it yours, and guys, to make it yours, you got to write, you got to edit, you got to say it, and then you got to go back and revisit it. Like, authorship is ownership. And so, I would just push everybody, 20 minutes into this, and, big idea has been shared. A tactical script that works has been shared. I am going to show one script on screen just because this is kind of like the foundational mortgage coach script that I share a lot on stage, and I just like to see if you guys have any feedback on it.
Yeah, and Dave, as you're pulling that up, I think another part of any script is the how much do you believe it? Right. I mean, that you can say something, but it's not what you say. It's more important is how you say it, because I can kind of work someone through a script and it'll sound like a script. But if I really believe that I'm going to change someone's life, if I look at Danny and I say, Danny, I'm going to be the most valuable person in your life in every aspect of real estate or finance for the next 30 years. Right. If that comes out that way, the believability is way better, because I actually know that I have the systems, I have the team, I have the infrastructure to make that a reality. Like, my biggest pet peeve in life is when people say client for life, and then I ask them what they actually do for their clients during their life, and they don't have the systems or the team or the infrastructure that actually does it. Right. So having all those things is important to really deliver the script in a way that you believe and they feel.
Dude, that could not agree more. And you just raised the standard. I mean, it's not only authorship is ownership, but what we're going to shift the call after we kind of talk about this and break this down. We're going to really shift the call to helping you guys audit your value proposition. Because I'd go one step further on, Ryan, and say, not only do you need to believe it, like, you need to prove it. Like, I want you to go back to your 5 past conversations. I want you to go back to how you've operated the last 30 days as a business, and are you proving it? So, like, but let's just break this down. Like, my breakdown is, first of all, we're using the word advice. My advice helps you. I think words matter. Build wealth with real estate. Like, it's a bigger thing that you're doing. I'm going to help you make a smarter decision that helps you build wealth faster. I'm going to coach you. Now, again, you could put manage, there's a lot of other words you could use other than coach. I founded a company called MortgageCoach, so I like the word coach personally. And then I'm going to help ensure that you always have the best mortgage over time. So first of all, anything you guys want to break down on this, and then I'm going to stop sharing, and we're really just going to help, you guys give people a blueprint on how can you say something like this, and then how can you actually execute and deliver. Like, maybe spend the rest of the call on that. But any breakdown you have on this, either one of you?
Gonna go first, Danny?
No, I'm happy to. I mean, Dave, really, this encapsulates everything about Art of Homeownership's just cause, and really the emphasis on wealth building over time, right? Because the always have best mortgage, right, involves a level of intimacy with your client situation that requires you to spend time with them. And so if you're going to get and drill down and truly follow through on this commitment, which is an extraordinarily well articulated, vision for what I think anybody that's on this call or has been part of your community for decades would say that's this is the the key to the kingdom, that this requires a level of intimacy that you need to achieve upfront, right? Pre-transaction, you need to earn it during the transaction, and then more importantly, follow through after the fact with technology, with systems, with people, with your own intention to make this come true. But I absolutely love it.
Ryan?
I would just say the only, everything Danny said, and maybe just before coach, add the word proactively, right? I proactively coach you over time, because that's the genesis of the problem in our industry, right? Is that more often than not, we wait for the client to decide to buy, sell, or finance a home, and then they reach out to us, and then they, say, hey, I want to do this, and then we give them advice and guidance at that time. But that's like just type in, go to Google and type in real estate market right now, right? Like every headline you're going to see is going to deter people from buying, selling, or financing a home. Maybe not selling, maybe might influence them to sell their home, right? But we're, as an industry, we make the assumption that the average person is going to understand when to buy, sell, or finance a home, which is clearly not the case, right? So that proactive nature, saying that you can rest assured you're not in this journey alone, and you should never have to figure out when to buy, sell, or finance a home again. Our responsibility to you is that on a proactive basis, we're going to help coach and educate you. And over time, we'll find out when you should buy, sell, or finance a home, and we'll work with you towards that goal. But that doesn't need to be on your shoulders anymore. And that is a massive statement to make. It's just a scary one if you don't have the systems and the products and the team in place to do it, because you don't want to say that and then have someone call you and be like, hey, I see rates are 2% lower, but weren't you supposed to call me? Right. So that's important.
Dave, can I jump in with one more comment? Because I may be jumping ahead a little bit on this, but team, anybody that's watching this, one of the other key takeaways from that statement is and this, Ryan's kind of alluding to this a little bit. They don't need to be actively shopping for you to sell them this product, right? They can be at any phase of the journey. They could be 7 years out, they could be 7 days out, and bringing this value proposition means that they can become your client. You can add value to them, which then creates value for your business, because you're no longer selling the transaction when you have this as your commitment.
Yeah, no, so couldn't be more true. So now let's audit it. And I know you guys have some very specific things you want to share today, so I want to make sure we have plenty of time to do that. But things like a borrower intelligence platform, a sales boomerang, anyone that's listening to this right now, if you don't have your clients in a database and you don't have a data platform, and guys, just getting an alert saying that someone ran a credit report with someone else is like it's 101. Like, that's, by the way, that's just telling you that someone's cheating on you right now. Like the most important insights are cash out, knowing that someone has a certain level of credit score, knowing that someone has a certain level of tappable equity, knowing that. Now, guys, that is not only a potential cash out refi, that is a potential referral to a realtor, because that's someone that's got enough equity to really consider moving up. So I would say that sales boomerang and borrower intelligence is really high on the list of, if you want to proactively coach someone over time. Like I would almost make the case that you can't say that if you don't do it. And if you don't actually do it, you don't actually make those calls, you're not going to say it the same way. You're not going to say it with the same heart. What are your thoughts on that, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, imagine, well, a lot of stuff we do is via Zoom. So Dave, if you're my client and I'm staring at you and I'm trying to influence you as to why we are the best mortgage platform or mortgage company or mortgage loan officer to work with, I don't know how I could, with any moral compass, tell you that I'm going to be more valuable to you without knowing that I have the ability to do that, right? Consistent ability to do that. Not that I could, if I have 10 clients, I could call every one of my clients when rates drop. That's fine, right? But if I have 1,000 clients, there's no way I could systematically do that without having, systems like Sales Boomerang telling me what to do, and then integrated with MortgageCoach that pushes out the information to them, and without their consumer app that's giving them all the financial services that they need to understand, right? Like, I don't want to tell someone I'm more valuable if I'm not.
Danny, anything you want to add to that?
No, it's exactly right. And I'm excited to get into some of the other tactical stuff here, because I think it's going to tie right back to everything we're talking about.
All right, so I'm really I'm still gonna stay on the call. Like, I'm not leaving, but I do know you guys came prepared with, hey, here's the playbook. Here is your playbook for crushing it and really delivering on this type of promise, and to stop selling a product that no one wants and start selling a product that everybody wants. So why don't you guys rock it out?
Yeah, happy to. I'll share my screen here. Let's see, share screen one. All right, can everybody see this? Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
So this is essentially how we use the Art of Homeownership platform combined with MortgageCoach and Sales Boomerang to, I saw, Christy. Hey, Christy, how are you? Thanks for being here, by the way. I saw Christy mention she doesn't want to tell someone she's more valuable if she doesn't believe that she is. And without a doubt, all of our team members really understand their value, and they are passionate that we can change the mortgage industry if we just deliver it to the client, right? So hopefully this will help people really understand what that means. So I'm just going to kind of jump around in these slides as opposed to doing an entire presentation. But this is the transaction interaction frequency spectrum, which I think Josh may have gone over on here before. But essentially, if you get into the forgettable zone, right, that's anything outside of a monthly usage as a company, it's almost impossible to keep clients' attention, as Steve Jobs said, as I kind of alluded to earlier, right? Like, no company is going to keep a client's attention with how noisy our current marketing environment is. And we're 7 to 10 years now from a mortgage or a real estate perspective. And it's going to be impossible for us to stay in front of our clients in any sort of meaningful way. And so we want to do it in a habit zone, right? We want where they're using Slack, Instagram, Zoom, Amazon. They're using all of these platforms on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. Why can't we do that as well? And the answer is we absolutely can. And I'll show you how we do that. So our platform basically is the solution where on their phone, they're going to have their entire financial big picture, right? It's going to be their net worth statement. It's going to be their credit information, their budgeting information. It's going to have your information from a lender's perspective, home valuation, everything they need to really become, wealthy over time. And they will be able to connect all their bank accounts. If you guys have used like a mint.com or anything like that, it's very similar in the sense that everything will be pulled in. They'll have their credit score actively tracked, right? So they can be monitoring and managing their credit on a consistent basis, which again is a massive value that they don't have to pay for, that they can keep tied into their overall financial picture. They're able to set objectives and goals, which is incredibly important, right? Because we need to kind of know, what we want to know what they're aiming for so we can help them accomplish it. So they can manage finances, pay off debt, want to buy a home, right? Improve credit. And then they have what we call mortgage readiness, or mortgage approval in their pocket at all times. Because their banking information is connected, we have assets. Because their income information is connected, we have income. Because their credit is connected, we have credit. So at any point, they can push their package over to us for day one certainty and be able to write an offer on a home. And having that level of confidence, knowing that they can buy an investment property, or move up, move down out of the area, and that they're connected, that it's all connected to their bigger financial picture, just creates a high level of confidence in that consumer. And again, all this value is coming from you. Next is budgeting, right? Budgeting is unfortunately a 4-letter word in America these days. People don't like doing it. They don't know how to do it. They don't set the time to do it. But through the app here, it budgets everything for them. Right? So because all their bank statement information is there, their credit information is there, it pulls in the charges and then it categorizes them so they can see where they're doing on, groceries, eating out, all the different areas of their life, and they can see how much they have left over for the goals and for the things that they've tried to manage through. We also have a home concierge, right? Now, one of the major frustrations or regrets of any homeowner is underestimating home maintenance, home repairs, and home upkeep. So right through their phone, they're going to get maintenance reminders. They're going to have the ability to connect with home service providers. It'll keep all their documents, all vendor contact information. These are things that clients really would love to know, but there's no book for, right? We help them move from one home to the next and set up all their services. On the back end, we get to track it, right? So this is where knowing what our clients are doing and knowing what they're going through gives us a competitive advantage, because we can then offer value based on what we see here, right? So we can see Mr. Johnson here. He has a goal of becoming a homeowner. He's 25% of his way towards his completion of our goal. He's got his mortgage readiness in place. He's got his property connected. His profile's not complete. We know his credit band. Right? We know everything about this client. And that way, when we're calling and doing our reviews and our updates, we can go through all this and say, hey, here's this, here's that, here's what we need to do here. We might be closer to your home buying goal than you have previously thought. So being able to have the analytics on each client on the back end is important. But then, and Danny, before I move into the Mortgage Coach and Sales Boomerang stuff, anything you want to add to any of the slides I just talked about?
Team, I think it's pretty self-evident from this, but this is really kind of putting that that concept of being a true advisor. And, I love Dave's message, being the captain of the wealth team. Now, this app doesn't make you a financial planner, doesn't make you a banker. It doesn't make you any of the other things that you're not, right? You're a mortgage advisor and helping people, navigate that part of their life. But what this does is it gives you insight into other connection points and opportunities for you to make those, referrals out to those other partners that are going to be really meaningful for bringing that education and awareness and information that truly helps people create wealth. So this just allows you even more thoroughly to become the captain of the wealth team.
Yeah, man, well said. So now when we get to this place, Mr. Johnson has a home goal. He wants to buy an investment property, right? So we can automatically know this, and then we can put together our TCA here and we can push it out to him and say, hey, look, here's a $300,000, $350,000, $400,000 investment property. Here's the breakdown of what everything would look like. And then, you simply go to Rent Cafe, right? You can talk to an agent in their market or an agent you may know. You can pull in the income, and then you can show them if that property cash flows, right? If they have enough to put down for that type of property, what the short-term and long-term ramifications are going to look like of owning an investment property and how it fits into their long-term retirement plan, right? But this is something that we should be, again, we should help the client set that goal. Most people are not going to set goals for themselves, especially real estate goals. If you look at the majority of your clients, they buy and sell homes based upon necessity or emotion, right? They're either something happens externally in their life that pushes them to buy or sell a property, or emotionally they get married, they have a kid, their friends buy a house, like they feel like it's just that time in their life. But very few people have a plan to buy 5 investment properties in 10 years, to have a second home at this point, to turn their current primary into a rental and move up 2 years from now, right? To avoid capital gains. Like they just don't plan that way. But through our app, our clients can plan that way, and then we can deliver this information for them as a part of that plan and then help them work towards it. Right? So having the TCA involved in this is just incredibly important. And then the next thing is when it works through Sales Boomerang.
Real quick, I just want to comment. Go back to the TCA if you don't mind, and I want to comment on some things that really deliver. I just call it like scientific value. When you're given a family options, and guys, we live in a world where distrust is the default. So consumers For the first time in history, the Edelman Trust Barometer scored America as, more distrusting than trustful. So that's never happened before. Although I was kind of surprised. I was like, yeah, isn't that been the default for about 5 years now? But no, it is the default now. And so when you give people options, it's uncommon in the marketplace. Most loan officers don't do that. When you show how those options are going to perform over time, that's transparency beyond the norm. And so when you make that value prop at the beginning, if you're not giving a family options, cost over time, strategies to pay off their debt faster, or strategies to build wealth faster, you're not, I just want to make it really clear, you're not delivering on the promise. Like these guys, Ryan Grant, I mean, he's delivering on that promise at the highest level. I also don't want everybody to be intimidated. While I'm a huge advocate of art of home ownership, HomeBot, MortgageCoach, Sales Boomerang, and I'm also a huge advocate that, you really can't just get away with faking it anymore. Like you need to have, be able to say these things and deliver these things. Remember to have a competitive advantage. Like if you want to optimize your conversion in this market, if you want to optimize your database, you need to do this. So anyways, I just wanted to call those things out. Go ahead with your next one, Ryan.
Yeah, Dave, I think that was incredibly well said. I was watching TV last night. A commercial came on. Quicken, as a part of their app now, I think it's called Rocket Money. They have the ability for people to, stop paying their Google Pay stuff if they had Audible, if they want to save money there, right? They bought Truebill, which is very similar to this, right? To the app that I'm showing here, because they want to help people. They want the data. Whether or not they want to help people is to be determined, right? But that's the game that we need to play now, right? Like if the biggest lender in the country, who also has the most money and the most reach in the country, is trying to play the help you with the holistic finance game, well, we better not still be selling the old product, right? Like we better sell the product that people actually want, right? Which is what we're talking about here. So now moving into the analytics side of this, we absolutely have to have this. We have, with Art of Homeownership, we tell every client we have what we call a perfect mortgage promise. And I tell this story. I had a client about, I think this was 2017. She comes in the office, elderly lady, and she says, I heard everything you said about all the things you do. Here's my documents. I just want the lowest rate. And I don't want any of the other things you talked about. I just want the lowest rate. And I said, ma'am, were you aware that when you bought your home in 2010, that you bought it with an FHA loan and you still have that loan today? And she goes, yeah. And I said, okay, well, are you positive you got the lowest rate at that time? She goes, absolutely positive. I shopped around, asked everybody, and B of A was, the lowest interest rate. I said, okay, well, were you aware that there was at least 10 times in the last 7 years where you could have removed your FHA mortgage insurance and lowered your interest rate and really saved a lot of money? And she says, yeah, I'm aware of that, but I just never got around to it, but I am now, very pridefully. And I said, well, ma'am, that's the problem, right? The problem is that you believe that's your responsibility. We believe it's ours. If you would have been our client, we have what we call a perfect mortgage promise, and we would have never let you go longer than a week being in the wrong loan. And we would have been able to transact and help you with that loan with very minimal, involvement from you. So, no matter how busy you are, we believe our responsibility is to help you always be in the right home and the right loan as your life is changing and evolving. And you could see light bulb went on. She was like, oh, wow, I guess the cheapest mortgage actually cost me a lot of money. And so unfortunately, Sales Boomerang didn't exist back then, or I could have showed her this, right? To say, look, we're going to get alerts the moment you have the opportunity to improve your interest rate, right? To remove mortgage insurance, to, potentially tap into your home equity if there's a necessity to access some of that money. But then all the other alerts we get, right? Now, I don't need to show the client all these, right? But I can be very clear that we are going to help you in all these different areas. And then what we get on our end, for those of you who haven't seen Sales Boomerang, is, every day, this is just for September 24th. So for September 24th, we had $2.39 million in potential loan volume, right? Not only helps us, but helps our clients substantially. One person inquired for a mortgage, 2 people could remove MI, 5 people had life events, right? We go to the alerts and it immediately helps us reach out to those people and connect. And we have scripts on how to reach out. We have script for what to say, as does the Sales Boomerang team. And then, all the life event notifications. This is something that has been a game changer for us. And when these are the emotional reasons, right? Or the necessity reasons why people buy homes: married, single, newborn, additional birth in the family, death, emerging professional, graduating high school, empty nester. I mean, these are conversations that people are automatically thinking, okay, do I move up? Do I move down? Do I move out of the area? Do I, need more space? They're constantly life planning. And again, if they believe, okay, we're pregnant with our third child, we bought a home 5 years ago, it's already kind of busting at the seams, and they're sitting there thinking, what do we do? What do you think they do? Right? They're not going to call you. They're not going to call their realtor. They believe that they need to figure it out themselves. And then once they've figured it out, then they call a realtor, then they call a lender, because we're just transactional. We don't actively help them manage the changes and evolutions in their life. We don't give them guidance or advice, or we don't give them strategy. That's not what they believe our industries do. We have to completely change that narrative. And we can do that starting from the first phone call, showing this stuff all the way through. Danny, I saw you came off mute.
Yeah, I want to emphasize what I said earlier, because team, if there's one takeaway that you can bring off of this call that's going to be a gold nugget that will have a transformative impact on your business, it is that you do not need to wait to adopt people into your database. And I'll take it even one step further. Your real estate agents right now today have no systems to manage their past clients. 91% of real estate agents' past clients do not remember their name after 1 year. They are in the forgettable zone. You can go into a real estate office right now today, show them Sales Boomerang and say, I'd love to adopt your database into this platform. Here's how I ensure that 100% of any leads generated from this activity gets spun right back to you, because we have really tight systems that allow us to do that. And I'm going to alert you when all these things happen so that we can be growing our collective business together. There is massive opportunity. You can lead generate in this market. You may not lead convert today, but look at your business over cycles as a business owner and an entrepreneur, and imagine the kind of impact that this can have if you're expanding your database by bolting on your referral partners databases and adding clients that are not yet ready to buy, sell, or finance real estate. And your business can and will become exponential.
Hey, could you stop sharing the screen real quick? I want to share something. And by the way, someone asked, does the info flow into MortgageCoach? So first of all, every Sales Boomerang alert, if your company has it turned on, goes into MortgageCoach. So if a Sales Boomerang insight, like we've gone beyond alerts to insights and strategies, it does create that. And then most CRMs integrate with MortgageCoach as well. So and that depends. I mean, it depends on your CRM. It depends on how your company's implemented us. But I want y'all take a screenshot of this. And this is like the name of the game. And these were actually some notes I took at Mastermind. And Josh Metal, he said something close to this. It captures the spirit of what Josh said. But financial advisors get paid every year. It's called assets under management. Insurance agents get paid every year. It's called book of business. Loan officers could get paid every year. It's called mortgages under management. Like, how many mortgages do you have under management? And I really liked something you said, like you should always be building your database. In fact, I'm going to move a slide up in this presentation, because I really want people to be thinking that your database is much more than your past clients. Like it really comes down to a couple things. So I'm going to go through a couple slides real quick, but guys, this could be your future. And Ryan, you said this a minute ago, but I just want you guys to visually see this. As realtors, this is what their database looks like. Like, even if they wanted to get the most simple alert, like someone pulled a credit report, they don't get that. They couldn't get it if they wanted to get it, because they're not a licensed loan officer. To get some of this data, you have to be a licensed mortgage professional or a mortgage company. And so it's a tremendous opportunity to go from, hey, realtor, this is what your database looks like. This is what it could look like. And then with Mortgage Coach, Sales Boomerang, and what we're building, we are the mortgage industry's first borrower intelligence platform, where we're going from just an alert on a credit inquiry to all the possible insights that you could ever want in your database, predicting who's most likely to want to list their home, who's most likely to want to move up, move down, need a HELOC, do a home improvement, do a cash out refi. And so like these are the two essentials. And then I really want to push everybody to come up with your map. Like how many people do you have that are past clients? How many people do you have that are leads? A big miss is a lot of you aren't putting your realtors in there. Every CPA, every financial planner, every advisor that either is a homeowner or wants to be a homeowner should be in your database. And then in that bottom left-hand corner, adopting databases, be able to make the case that my database is so valuable that you should give me your database. One last thing, I interviewed, who was it? I'm constantly asking people, what are your past customer pull-through rate? So out of every 100 customers in your database, how many loans did you do last month? And the highest I'm hearing so far are 1 to 2. So if you have 100 people in your database, that's 1 to 2 loans last month. That means if you had 1,000 people in your database, guys, that should be 10 to 20. So I would get everybody, just like we're auditing our value prop. We want to stop selling mortgage. We want to start selling financial freedom faster because of my advice, because of this platform, this fintech powered CRM that I have. And then you know what else it is? It's mortgages under management. It's clients for life. Like the consumer is getting financial freedom faster, and you're getting predictable, consistent loans faster by having this whole platform. Danny or Ryan, anything you want to share on that little sequence before you take back the screen?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll be quick. Dave, I think the title of this session, which is "Stop Selling the Product That Nobody Wants." Not only does nobody want it, but really, like logistically, most people don't need it right now. Right? Like most people don't need to refinance today. Maybe they need to access equity in some way, and maybe they don't need to buy a home. But the product that everyone does want is what we're talking about, right? They would love a financial services app with a team of people that are committed to helping them, figure their financial life out. And that's when, adopting databases and adopting clients at scale comes into play. Because with our platform, you could adopt every single person you come across. Right? If that person's roughly 25 years or older, you can say, hey, look, we have a platform called the Art of Homeownership where we can help you master becoming a homeowner or master, you on your way to becoming a homeowner. And here, just type in this information, download it. Great. Here's the product. They can put everything in. Now, you could be helping tens of thousands of clients manage their finances, tens of thousands of clients work towards their goal of homeownership or moving up, down to the outer area. And when interest rates do move back down, you've planted so many seeds and you've helped so many people towards that journey that it's just an unbelievable amount of business that you can get. And it's the most fulfilling type of business, right? Because you help them come up with the concept. You help them navigate to where they need to go, right? It's not reactive business. And that's what we need to be selling today. We need to be selling help. We need to be selling advice. We need to be helping people with their financial understanding through inflation, through stock market fluctuations, through their fear and anxieties. Right? We need to be the person that provides all of that. If we're just still selling mortgages, it's going to be a long road.
Yeah, what I was wanting to add is a little bit of a pivot team, and I apologize if this is going from 30,000 feet to 50,000 feet, but it was coming up for me pretty strong as I was looking at that list that Dave showed, financial planners, insurance agents, right? Assets under management, book of business. There's something else that is different about those industries besides having an annuitized stream of income, a predictable and annuitized stream of income, which is really what we're talking about here. For your business, annuitize your business, make your income predictable. The other thing that those other industries are, or that those books of business are, is saleable. and they can be sold because people know what to predict from those books of business. They know that they churn out so many past clients over time, and there's a way to measure and capture that. So when an insurance agent decides they want to retire, they put their book of business on the market and another insurance agent buys it, and they get tangible value for that. When a mortgage professional wants to leave the business, their business evaporates into the ether because there's no way to connect the value that you create today and then hand it off to another person that would then manage your business. And I've heard of one-off purple unicorn situations where people have been able to transfer their mortgage practice, through succession planning, but not in the way that an insurance agent or a financial planner can. So keep in mind how powerful this could be if you really approach your business like a business as an entrepreneur and anchor into some of these concepts like those other industries that Dave threw up on the screen.
Yeah, and one more concept just to get it submitted in everybody's head. It's been, Danny brought it up, the captain of the wealth team, but this is where your business becomes Amazon proof. Like it becomes like, who cares what technology comes into the space? If you are this fintech powered real world loan officer, and remember everyone, real world is no longer in person. It's digital and in person, physical and digital. But when you become this captain of the wealth team that's using technology to deliver more value to the consumer beyond the mortgage, providing monthly value, you're doing annual reviews, you've got tools and technology so that there's constant value. You become the most valuable advisor to a consumer. So guys, we've got less than 10 minutes left. I want to make sure anything you want to share gets shared in the next 7 minutes. So Ryan, really, I'll throw it in your hands while I might ask a question or pop in. I'll let you drive whatever it is you want to share before we run out of time.
Yeah, Dave, I think that star you just put up was really important. I don't know if you can throw that back up for me, but I'd love to dive into it just a touch more. So if
just give me a second.
Yeah, if everyone looks at the 5 points of that star, you'll see how important the mortgage industry is to help our society in the greatest way possible, right? Because if you look at the top, it's realtor, right? People are only typically connecting with realtors when they've already decided to buy a home, and the realtor gets zero financial information, right? Another point of that star is the financial planners. 87% of America is not going to connect with a financial planner. Right? They're just not. They don't believe they have the assets to do so. They're ashamed of their finances. They don't, it's not going to either make logical sense or emotionally, they're not going to want to do that. Most people don't have CPAs. Their taxes don't necessitate a CPA. And like, go ask any CPA if they just do standard, 1040 returns, they'll say no, right? They need a business, they need multiple properties, they need something. So most people just get their taxes done online. One of the other ones was attorneys. Most people, over 70% of America doesn't have an estate plan or will or a trust, right? And then insurance pros, everybody's going to need insurance, but most people don't have life insurance. And if they do, if you get just normal insurance, they also don't have their finance information. So think through this. Every point in that star we just talked about, most people aren't going to engage with. And if they do, they're not going to get any sort of financial knowledge, except the people in the middle. Right? Because it's in our DNA as Americans to want to own land, to buy property. So most people at some point in their life will at least raise their hand a little bit and say, do you think I could buy a house? Because that's the extent of their American dream. That's the extent of their ability to grow wealth. That means that we are going to connect with the most families that give us the information that we need to help them with all their finances. But for some crazy reason, our industry has decided to do nothing with it. Right? We've just decided to take that information and say, yes, Danny, yes, Dave, yes, Robert, you can buy a home. And now congratulations, you own one. Good luck with the rest of it. And it's borderline inappropriate, right? Like because we have the opportunity, I believe we have the responsibility, right? And that responsibility is something we should all be super proud of, right? And we should take as a badge of honor to say, wow, our industry could impact the most families out of any industry from a financial services perspective in the country. Now, if we're just selling debt, we're not doing it. right? But if we dive in and we do everything that we just talked about on this call, right? If you utilize the Art of Homeownership platform, if you utilize MortgageCoach, if you utilize Sales Boomerang, and you systematize all that and you build your practice around it, you can't help but it'll ooze out of your skin how valuable you are to your clients, because you'll see example after example after example. Like Dave said earlier, you won't just have the belief in it, you'll have the proof, right? And through our platform, we'll be able to show our clients' average net worth, our average client's credit score. And we can say, look, Mr. Smith, they didn't start out this way, right? Our clients grew to be more wealthy over time because of who we are and what we do. So I know you think you need a low rate, but let me show you why thousands of clients disagree with you and what that meant for them and their family's future.
So guys, we are minutes from the top of the hour. Any closing thoughts? Where can people get more information on the things you're talking about? As far as MortgageCoach and Sales Boomerang, guys, it's salesboomerang.com, mortgagecoach.com. We are merging the companies, and sooner or later you'll have one website to get both platforms, but that's pretty straightforward. But if people want to learn more about you, where should they go? What can they do?
Yeah, you can just go to, I typed in the chat here, info.artofhomeownership.com/consultation. So you have it in the chat. I'm pretty sure Rob will put it on the Facebook site as well. Just learn about it, right? Like learn what it does, ask questions, figure out if it makes sense. And if you believe what we believe, and this really speaks to you, not only will you be much more inspired with the work that you do. We fly out of bed every day because we see nothing but green lights in this market. This is the best market I've ever seen in my career since 2005 to differentiate myself. But it'll be a very fulfilling process, right? Like when you help clients this way, you are much more proud of the work you've done. At the end of your career, you'll look back and realize that you've made a much more substantial impact. Danny, what would you add?
Yeah, I only want to add one thing, was just to emphasize that message of hope, team. That's one of the things that I really believe that MortgageCoach, Sales Boomerang, Art of Homeownership can bring to your business today, which is if you're, like many of the loan officers that I talk to, and you're asking yourself, well, what do I do now? Like how do I navigate these, this storm that seems to be, attacking our industry, attacking your business? These tools answer that question for you. And it allows you to kind of bring some intention back to your day, back to your business, and you will see the results, right? If you go today, don't wait till tomorrow. You go to today and go back to clients that you funded 6, 7 months ago, and you reintroduce the total cost analysis to them with what a refinance will look like at some point. And you remind them that you have these alerts set up so that you can keep them in a perfect mortgage promise. You invite them in to your mortgage financial services application that you can get through Art of Homeownership. Now you're doing things that over time will winterize your business. I love that term, Amazon proof your business. These are things you can be doing today. You don't have to be overwhelmed by this market because, and you don't have to do it alone either, right? There's a community here, there's a community all around you, and there's tools all around you that can help you attack the marketplace as it exists today and gain market share today and win the future, not get anchored into the past.
All right, guys, this has been a great call. The person who asked if Sales Boomerang replaces CRM, it does not. Like we're a borrow intelligence platform. Like we'll follow multiple databases, track, look for alerts, signals, insights, and then put a strategy on it. So that's not what we do, but hey, check these guys out. I think they're incredible leaders. They've got an incredible platform that both MortgageCoach and Sales Boomerang are part of. And it's a combination of technology and training, which we all know that, technology that's not used doesn't give you an ROI, doesn't create value. You need the combination. That's why I do interviews like this every Tuesday and why we're so active on social media. So this is a wrap. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Ryan and Danny, appreciate you both. And this is a wrap. Take care, y'all.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate you, brother.